Our obsession with mythical creatures spans the ages. As long as we have documented history, we also have tales of monsters and beasts that seemingly inhabited the earth alongside human beings. Of course, you must consider that this type of thinking is not born of sheer imagination, but of actual encounters. It's strange that we only recently started documenting the dinosaurs, and of course we are stretching their existence right back before we humans existed on this planet. So you gotta ask the question, if we didn't know about the existence of these creatures until fairly recently, then why are there stories in human tradition of the slaying of such gigantic beasts? The word dinosaur incredibly means terrible lizard, and it was only coined around 180 years ago, before we classified them as dinos. We simply assumed that these bones were the mythical creatures as foretold in the ancient lore without even believing it to be true. Isn't this logic insane? So this is an open acknowledgement from the scientific community that yes, we were finding these things before classification began, but why then go on to put them under a category of mythical concept that they didn't even believe? It makes no sense whatsoever, and there simply must be more to this story. To find truth under certain circumstances, we must look at the timeline of such things. For example, did they really exist millions of years ago? Would it surprise you to learn that the Natural History Museum are not classifying dinos with flying capabilities as having ever died out? In the today and now, our planet is utterly teeming with a diverse wealth of life. Most notable, there are more bird-like species than any other animal. Why? Well, because the birds of the earth have probably been here longer than most animals, and of course, directly related to dinosaurs. The present scientific consensus is that the birds are a group of theropod dinosaurs that originated during the Mesozoic era around 250 million years ago. So you would expect such creatures mentioned within the context of the Holy Bible or something, right? Well, there are mentions of these creatures in the Holy Record. A search for the word dragon in the King James Version of the Bible produces 34 separate matches across 10 different books written between approximately 2000 BC and the year 90 AD. The word dragon, tannin in Hebrew by the way, is used throughout the Old Testament and most directly translates as sea or land monsters. Incredibly, in Genesis 1:21, it describes God's creation of sea dragons on the 5th day. The original Hebrew is more descriptive of the sea-going dinosaurs we now see in numerous museums throughout the world. Even more dramatic is the book of Job, where the author describes the great land creature, Behemoth, Job 40, and the great water creature, Leviathan, Job 41. Although the latest Bible translations use the words elephant, hippo, or crocodile instead of behemoth and Leviathan, the original Hebrew and the context of the descriptions do not allow for these interpretations. Descriptions of dinosaur-like creatures are nearly universal throughout the world's ancient cultures. Where did the global concept originate? How did societies throughout the world describe, record, draw, etch, sew, and carve such creatures in such uniformity if they did not in fact witness these mythical creatures during their lifetimes? Of course, these accounts are by no means limited to the Bible. Dragon accounts from China, Europe, the Middle East, and Latin America share similar accounts of dinosaur-like beasts. Records of Marco Polo in China show the royal house kept dragons for ceremonies, and records of the Greek historian Herodotus and the Jewish historian Josephus describe flying reptiles in ancient Egypt and Arabia. In many cultures, it was a great honor to kill these creatures. There are numerous records of warriors killing great beasts in order to establish credibility in a village. Gilgamesh, Fafnir, Beowulf, and other famous legends, including the mythology of Egypt, Greece, and Rome, provide specific descriptions of dragons and other dinosaur-like creatures. Dinosaurs are depicted on numerous objects of ancient art throughout the world. These creatures are featured on Babylonian landmarks, Roman mosaics, Asian pottery and royal robes, Egyptian burial shrouds and government seals, and many other pieces of ceremonial art throughout ancient cultures. If dinosaurs supposedly went extinct at least 60 million years ago, how did ancient man of the last few thousand years precisely and uniformly depict them? The Bible is clear in that of sea creatures were created by God on day 5, and land creatures were created by God on day 6. These creatures, including dinosaurs, which coexisted with man until they died off for various reasons, including most dramatically the worldwide flood of Noah. The word dinosaur was invented in 1841 by Sir Richard Owens. This was way after the dictionary was written, actually. By 1891, dinosaur was still not in the American dictionary, so what were dinosaurs called before 1841? You know it, guys, dragons. You can see that on the Chinese zodiac, the dragon is the only non-existing animal, which doesn't make sense unless, of course, it existed and only later to be referred to as a dinosaur. Alexander the Great, St. George, and many others claim to have killed dragons. However, in ancient ruins, what appears to look like what is called dinosaurs. For example, in the Inca stones of the Nazca people, Shang Dynasty remains shows people killing what looks like a dinosaur. The Sumerian tablets epic of Gilgamesh kills a dragon. If dinos really did die off millions of years ago before humans were present here, then why do humans and dinosaur fossils and tools coexist in the same fossil layers as dinosaur bones in Texas and the Dakotas? Why are human footprints and dinosaur footprints existing in the same fossil layers of Texas and New Mexico? Why are petroglyphs thought to be just over 1,000 years old and created by Native Americans showing what appears to be dinosaurs? It does seem that the timeline of history is completely flawed. There are proofs lost to us of the gigantic beast existing with humankind. It does suggest that these things went through the same collective trauma as humanity was inflicted, but haven't survived alongside us, as we probably use them as food for our own survival. Sad, but true. And there have been sightings throughout the years as well. Most notably, the Loch Ness Monster made headlines around the world when it was photographed, but further efforts to track Nessie have been inconclusive. But with the age of the internet, there have been stunning sightings in the Congo of a creature that looks like the original photograph of Loch Ness Monster. The Congo River Basin is home to a wide array of animals, and is said there lives a furious creature known to the locals as Mokele Mbembe. During the early 20th century, descriptions of the entity increasingly reflected public fascination with dinosaurs, including aspects of particular dinosaur species now known among scientists to be incorrect, and the entity became increasingly described alongside a number of purported living dinosaurs in Africa. Over time, the entity became a point of focus, in particular among adherents of the pseudosciences of cryptozoology and young Earth creationism, resulting in numerous expeditions led by cryptozoologists and funded by young Earth creationists, and groups with the aim of finding evidence that invalidates scientific consensus regarding evolution. Paleontologist Donald Portreo remarks that the quest for Mokele Mbembe is part of an effort by creationists to overthrow the theory of evolution and teaching of science by any means possible. 1909 saw the first mention of a brontosaurus-like creature in Beast and Men, the autobiography of famed big game hunter Carl Hagenbeck. He claimed to have heard from two independent sources about a creature living in Rhodesia, which was described to them by natives as half elephant, half dragon. Naturalist Joseph Menges had also told Hagenbeck about similar stories. Hagenbeck speculated that it can only be some kind of dinosaur, seemingly akin to the Brontosaurus. You gotta wonder if these ancient giants are surviving in the many miles of caves and tunnels in the lakes and oceans of our planet. driven into a survival state to escape uncertainty of the species prolonging its existence. If these giant things are still alive today, then you would have to consider the fact that they are in hiding and apparently hiding from us. It doesn't seem so far-fetched to suggest that dinos existed not millions of years ago, but thousands of years ago. We are mistaking certain accounts of the slaying of such beasts as mythological instead of actual. They are in the contextual record of human history. It is our understanding of such things that is greatly flawed, and you really do need to wonder just why we human beings are forgetting rather than remembering. It's in front of our face and we still can't understand these things. It's crazy. Our forgetfulness as a species is alarming. It's obvious we are a species with amnesia, as Graham Hancock has suggested. It leads back to a traumatic period not only in Earth history, but also for human history. That, of course, being the event of the Great Flood. Maybe the answers lie within each of us, so understanding our mind may be the key to everything. Maybe. Just maybe. What do you guys think about this anyway? Comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.